Welcome to our fourth and final Premier League individual team preview that does not have a name. Tonight we're going to be looking at Liverpool, Burnley, Hull, Swansea and the current champions Leicester City. As we're going to be discussing their transfer activity so far, what we expect from them from the coming season. We have discussed the other 13 teams. They're on our other 14 teams. They're on our channel already. Do check them out. Let us know your thoughts on our forum at hammerschat.com. You seen him last night. I've got Charlie with me. This one's pre-recorded. The other ones have been live. This one's pre-recorded simply because we've got the Juventus game on Sunday and I have to travel overnight. So, Charlie, let's start with the red half of Liverpool. What do you make of their transfer activity? Their transfer activities, purchases have raised some eyebrows somewhat, have they?
Mane is the one that's been raising the most eyebrows, I think, because he's so, for the price, you want someone who is as consistent can be, and he's not that. Wijnaldum, I like Wijnaldum a lot. I would have liked him at West Ham. I think that he was maybe not underutilized, but I don't think he was. We did not see the best of him at Newcastle. We didn't see the best of anyone at Newcastle, but I think he was one of the people who has gone.
He failed at Newcastle last year. He couldn't be arsed.
Everyone failed at Newcastle last year.
But now I was excited to see him last year. I was gutted when he went to Newcastle, and he just didn't turn up at all. He didn't look interested at all. Do you think Klopp is a manager to bring his Dutch form to the Premier League?
Yeah, I rate Klopp as highly as high it could be. Basically, I think Klopp's one of the best managers in the league. I think Klopp's one of the best managers going right now. Personally,
I think Mane, 36 million is a lot of money, but I get why they're paying that though, because is he Premier League proven? Yes. Has he scored in Premier League? Yes. You know, at the end of the day, 36 million, what does that get you abroad these days? You know, it doesn't even get you Lacazette. You're almost taking a punt when you go abroad. Look at Wijnaldum. That was a punt from Newcastle. It was an educated punt. He'd done it. We've seen what he's got. He's got ability. He's got potential. It didn't work out. Mane's going to work out at Anfield. I'm pretty certain of that.
When people talk about Premier League proven, this is something that gets to me a lot. Like, again, I'm going to relate it back to West Ham briefly. When people talk about Andre Ayew being Premier League proven, I don't think he is. He had a good, decent first half. He had a good first half of the season. I rate Andre Ayew a lot. I've liked him for a long time. I really like him as a player. If he signed for West Ham, if he does eventually sign for West Ham, I'll be very happy. But I don't think he's Premier League proven. I think he had one decent season. But how many players do we see have one good season and then never do anything again? I think Wijnaldum had a bad season last year. That's undoubted. The entirety of Newcastle had a bad season last year. That's undoubted. But I think with Wijnaldum, you're paying for the potential of something more that hasn't had the full chance to shine yet. And I think with Mane, I think what we've seen is a couple of seasons of quite inconsistent play. And out of the two of them, I would be more, if I was a Liverpool fan, I would be more happy that we paid whatever we paid for Wijnaldum than we did for whatever we paid for Mane. But that's a personal thing, obviously.
I think they're both good buys. I think they'll both be successful. I think a lot of people were expecting too much from Liverpool. I think I could upset a few Liverpool fans here, but they're not a Champions League club anymore. They're in the Europa League. It's been Klopp's got to make these signings to get them into the Champions League before he can go up to another level and start purchasing Champions League players. I think these are the players that he should be going for. But you've also got to look at the outgoings. Their net is not as much as you would think. They sold Brad Smith for 6 million, Sinclair for 4, Allen for 13, Skirtle for 5, Jordan Ibe for 15. They've took in a lot of cash as well. So they're not splashing the cash. Well, they are, but they're also taking in a lot of money. And also, they've signed a player who I thought was retired. They've signed Alex Manninger. Now, I swear I bought him on FIFA 96 or something as a young goalkeeper. I didn't even know he was still playing football. But it's interesting to see him there. I genuinely thought he'd retired about 10 years ago or something. So I had to check it was the right Alex Manninger when they announced that signing. I swear I bought him on FIFA 96. But where do you see Liverpool finishing next season then? What's your expectations for them? What would be is finishing outside the top 4 a failure for Liverpool next season?
I think a failure for Liverpool would be finishing outside the top 6. I think a success of a season is finishing inside the top 4. They're my outside bet to win the entire Premier League. And I know that's an insane thing to say, but they don't have Europe. I really believe Klopp is a fantastic manager. They managed to get to a Europa League final last year before he's even had the chance to buy anyone. I think they've made a lot of, as much as we can talk about their 2 big signings, which are, of course, Mane and Wijnaldum, I think Matip is a great pickup on a free. I think Kraus is hopefully for them is going to be a good signing as well. They need to find a better goalkeeper than Mignolet.
Well, they've got
outside bet.
Got a keeper. Klopp's brought in his own keeper now. I don't know too much about him, but if Klopp's got him, it's Klopp's knowledge. And
well, this is what I mean. Kraus is the guy I'm talking. I can't pronounce it. I assume it's Kraus. I don't know, but if from all I've read about him, he's a safe pair of hands. He's a decent young keeper. For me, they're an outside bet for the Premier League in the same way Leicester were last year, in that they don't have Europe. They have a manager who's good at galvanizing teams and good at organizing teams. If everything can come together for them, for example, if Daniel Sturridge can actually stay fit, I really do think they can be up there. But I think for them, a success would be finishing top 4. A good season is top 6. Anything below that is a failure.
I agree with that. And I think a cup run, I think he needs to go for a domestic cup just to keep that Anfield crowd on a high level, high spirits, and it's a long-term thing Klopp's got at Anfield. And I think people realise that. It's not like at Old Trafford or the Etihad where Pep and Ozil has to deliver instant success. I don't think Klopp's got that demand right yet. He's got a little bit of time on his side to make these signings and to build something. I think he'll get there long-term as well. But let's move on to the opposite end of the table. Will they stay up or will they go straight back down to the Championship? They've only signed 4 players. The biggest fee they paid is 1.1 million for a Charlton player. Let's look at Burnley. However, the big question that every Premier League fan has been asking, I suppose, is why if they didn't come up, someone would have went in and got Gray. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Do you think he's got what it takes to do it in the Premier League, Charlie?
I would say yes. Burnley went down. I think they planned to go down. I think their owners and have been very smart in that they came up. I think would they have complained if they stayed up? No, of course not. But I think part of their long-term planning was maybe going back down, keeping Sean Dyche there, and continuing to build a team decent enough to make another attempt. And I think this is going to be it. Andre Gray, I have liked for a while. I've got a soft spot for Brentford, and when he was there, I thought he was fantastic. I like him a lot. I think he does have what it takes to play in the Premier League. They've still got Sam Vokes, who I think is a decent enough striker as well. They're not a team full of names you will know. They're not a QPR. They're not a team like that. They're not going to come up and spend a ton of money on names that you've heard of. But I think Dyche as a manager, I think this might be the season they can manage to stay up in the Premier League and then build from there. But I think they've been very smart about the way they've been going about their business. They've not been to use them again, they've not been a QPR and spent way too much money, more money than they have, and lost it on nonsensical transfers. I think they've been very smart about the way they've gone about their business.
I think they need to open the checkbook a little bit. They are debt-free. They're coming up now debt-free. A huge amount of money coming in from the Premier League. I think they need to, unless Dyche is the one saying that he doesn't need players, unless he's the one saying this, I'm happy with my squad, that's fair enough, back your manager. However, if Dyche is saying, look, I need 1 or 2 players of decent quality and Premier League experience, I think they need to go get him those players so he's got the tools. Sitting here right now at the start of August, Burnley have a great chance of surviving. But they've also got a great chance of going right back down. All it takes is a couple of teams round about and to make 1 decent signing, and all of a sudden, Burnley become one of the favourites to go down. But do you think they will survive, Charlie? Do you think they're going to stay up?
Yeah, on my predictions table, I've got them staying up. I think they're staying up mainly because I think there's a lot of teams due to go down at this point. I think there are a lot of teams who have stood still and just degraded a lot. And I think that Burnley, like I said, I rate Sean Dyche as manager. I think he's a good manager. I think the key for them is probably keeping Gray and Vokes fit, especially Gray. If they can keep him fit and firing, then I think they are 100% staying up. Well, 99% staying up. I think they'll do it. I think this is their year.
I think they'll scrape it. I hope they do. I really like Sean Dyche as well. I said it on the forum when the England job came up. I would have liked to seen him have a go. And I know you're thinking, oh, you don't care about England, but I'm a football fan, and I think Sean Dyche should have got at least an interview. They should have at least sat him down and said, "What would you do?" He'd been working on a shoestring at Burnley. You've got out the toughest league in arguably the world. He's clearly got something. So what would he do at England? I would have liked to have seen him get a shout, but it's Burnley's gain. He's still there. He's going to come up. It's going to be tough for Burnley. I think this is going to be a really, really long season being a Burnley fan. I don't think they're going to be ever more than 8-10 points away from the bottom three. I think they're always going to be hovering around that bottom three, and it's going to be squeaky bum time a lot of the times. I think they're going to put up a lot of nil-nils. I can see Burnley being in a lot of low-scoring games. But I hope they'll stop, and I think they'll stay up as well, But we'll find out in May, Charlie, if we're right. Now, let's move on. You've said there's a couple of teams degrading, a couple of teams more likely to go down. This is one team. What a mess. What a mess Hull City's in right now. What have they got? 13, 14 fit senior players and no manager. What's going on over at Hull City / Hull Tigers?
Terrible owner. Their manager, he quit in an attempt to get the England job. It seemed that went well. Steve Bruce is a capable manager. I think
he's a bit like a Pulis or a Sam Allardyce, isn't he? He's all right. You'll get the job done. You'll keep you safe, but don't expect much glory.
Yeah, this is it. He's capable at the job he is asked to do, but I don't know how much further he will ever get anyone. Obviously, that makes no difference to Hull now, given the fact he's gone. I feel sorry for them because they were a mess when they went down, and they don't seem to have sorted that mess at all. They seem to have just stayed the same. They've got some decent players, it should be said. You obviously know of my love for Andrew Robertson, but I mean, they've got people like Robert Snodgrass, who I rate very well despite his injury proneness. They've got people capable of doing a decent job, probably at a lower to mid-table club in the Premier League. But I just can't see them surviving.
They've got what, 14 players or something. It's ridiculous. How are you possibly? The season kicks off in literally a week's time from tonight. Saturday. You'll be watching this on Saturday, so the season kicks off in a week. Hull have 14 fit senior players. How can they possibly survive? We've brought in 2 players in the summer, both freebies, one from Peterborough and one from Wimbledon. Now, I'm not saying these players are rubbish. I've never heard of them. I can't comment on them, but what are they doing? Like, how can you possibly run a football club like this, Charlie?
You can't. Their owner has been hell-bent on changing their name and concentrates to the point where he didn't get his own way, so he just took the name completely off the badge. Like, this is the sort of guy who is running Hull City at the moment. And I feel sorry for them because it's a horrific situation to be in when your owner is more concerned about what the Premier League officially classifies your name as than he is about the way the team is working and the way the team is run. Like I said to you before we started, I was making notes on them, and literally the only 2 I had were about Bruce going and Diame going. Like, that's all. Hull City, I just cannot see them staying up for love nor money, and it's a shame, but unfortunately that's just the way their club is at the moment. And I think they're a club that seriously, their owner specifically needs just a huge kick up the backside, because otherwise they are just gonna they're not going to amount to anything right now.
Their owners are doing what Karen Brady's doing for West Ham, but she's doing it professionally and she's doing it cleverly. She's slowly rebranding West Ham, slowly doing it. She's doing it through a period of evolution, and it's working. He's trying to change it like that, and he's not listening to anyone. And it's all going wrong at Hull. I can't see them finishing anything but 20th at this rate. Can you see them finishing anything but 20th, Charlie? They must be favourites to finish rock bottom right now.
When I did the list of 1 to 20, the first name I put in was Hull, and it was at 20th. I really genuinely hate to say this, because I can imagine being a Hull fan sitting and watching this, but I cannot see it happening any other way. I would love to be proved wrong in the same way I was Leicester last year, where I said I thought they were going to go down, and they obviously soared. But I just cannot see them doing anything but finishing rock bottom.
Yeah, if there is a Hull fan by chance watching this, let us know, because we haven't no knowledge of, well, when we're discussing these shows, it's something different for us. We're not experts on these clubs. We're just giving it as a neutral's opinion. And this is our neutral opinion of Hull City. So are we missing something? Or is your club really that much of a mess? I've seen new managers you're linked with. Chris Coleman, I think, would have been a very good choice, but you're not allowed him. Well, Sheffield have said no. Then I've seen Gianfranco Zola. Zola, the man, why would you get him? Your club's going to be in a relegation battle. You've got no team, so you're going to need someone with huge experience, a huge personality, someone that's going to grab that club by the scruff of their neck and drag them out of the relegation zone. So you go and get possibly, or try and go and get the nicest bloke in football. That guy, there's no chance. That guy couldn't even. Would he not be the nightmare possible worst candidate for Hull City right now, Charlie?
Yeah, what they need is stability. I like Zola in the fact that I like managers who are going to play attacking football. I like managers who are going to go out there and they're not going to sacrifice stuff for the sake of. Do you know what I mean? They're going to go out there with a style and a panache. But right now, the unfortunate reality of the situation is Hull needs stability. They need someone who is going to come in a bit like I said about in the last episode about Mourinho just dragging Man United up by the scruff of their necks. But I think what they need is someone to just come in and to be like, right, this is what's going to happen. This is how it's going to happen, not only to the players, but to the owner. And Zola is unfortunately the complete opposite of that. Zola is someone who...
They need Steve Bruce.
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it? They need Steve Bruce right now, and it's a bit unfortunate. He's just left. But
well, there you go. Me and Charlie say Hull City are finishing 20, and you've got no hope in hell of straighten up. We cannot wait to see you at the Olympic Stadium. We're looking forward to the 3 points. But if you're a Hull City fan, you think we're wrong, let us know. Our forum's hammerschat.com. You're more than welcome to come and tell us your thoughts. Now let's move on to another team who they're going to be discussed for relegation. I like a wee bet. This team is a good bet for getting relegated. Odds of 4-1. I think that's good money. But they're one of my favourite teams. They're my second favourite team in the Premier League. Well, not my second favourite. I've got a soft spot for them. Swansea City. What do you make of them, Charlie? They're kind of a club that look like they're going to be in danger now and again, but they always get out of it, but without much fuss. They're never in danger. But I think they've been playing with fire too long. I think this season they're going to get burnt.
I completely agree. I think that 2 or 3 seasons ago, you looked at them and you could see a team that was slowly building in the right way. I liked the way their owners worked. I liked the way their managers worked. I liked Gary Monk. I think now they have stagnated to an extent which is going to put them in a relegation battle, whether they like it or not. I think they will survive.
They're their own worst enemies, really, aren't they? Because they came into the Premier League with this ethos, this way of playing. It got a lot of people's attention. Who's this new club that's come up here? How dare this club come up here and play proper football? And look how successful it is. They kind of changed the way promoted teams come up and play. For me, anyway. I think they changed the way promoted clubs approach the Premier League a little bit and saying, you know what, we might be a small club. We might, no offense, Swansea fans, we might be a small club. We might have players you've never heard of, but we're in the Premier League by right, and we're going to play the way we've been playing, and we're going to, perform. We're going to entertain. They've done that. But when they do that, the bigger clubs look over and go, what's going on over there? So they take their manager, they go in and they take their best players, and for whatever reason, Swansea just struggle to replace the players, don't they?
They do, and I think they're going to struggle with a similar problem if Ayew ends up leaving. They have got some good players still there. I rate Leroy Fer as a box-to-box midfielder. I think he's capable of playing at sort of Premier League level. I really do. I like him. They've brought in Fernando Llorente. Whether he can do it in the Premier League, we'll see.
Are you looking forward to seeing him? Are you looking forward to seeing he's always been a big-ish name in football without ever actually overachieving as such. He's one of those people I think's got a better reputation than his ability truly suggests, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd agree. I look forward to seeing him in the extent that I'm looking forward to seeing if he can do it in the Premier League and how Swansea set up. Because obviously they look like they're about to lose Ayew. They've lost Gomez. They've lost Eder, even though he did nothing. But you know what I mean? Like they've lost a lot of strikers, and so he is going to have to step up. He is going to have to step up for Swansea, and so I'm interested and excited to see him play, just to see whether he can actually do it or not. But I agree with you in the sense that I think he's got a bigger reputation than maybe his successors have deemed.
But the best signing they will make this summer, pen to paper, fact, I'm saying fact, and that's Sigurdsson signing a new deal. That is huge. I thought he was maybe going to go. I thought they were crumbling a little bit, a bit like I expected Leicester City to do. I thought their best players were going to get cherry picked, and I thought he'd be at the top of a lot of teams' shopping lists. And I'm surprised he signed a new deal, but he is talented. I think Swansea's survival depends on him. We spoke in last night's show about Spurs not being a one-man team. I think Swansea are potentially a one-man team, and that's their one-man.
Yeah, completely agree. I rate Gylfi Sigurdsson very, very highly. I like him a hell of a lot. I thought he was a good buy when Tottenham got him. They decided not to use him in any sort of particular way, partially because they got Christian Eriksen. He's like a slightly better version of him, which is fair. But Gylfi Sigurdsson, if I was to cherry pick players out of teams who finished below us last season in order to improve West Ham, he would be one of those. I really, really like him.
Is keeping Ashley Williams crucial to Swansea as well?
I like Ashley Williams a lot, but I don't think he's as crucial as Gylfi Sigurdsson is. But he is very important. They need to. I don't know. Swansea City are one of those ones where I think it's going to be a scrape for them at the bottom this season. And I think if Gylfi and if Ashley can perform to this level, if Llorente can perform to a level he comes with that pedigree of, then they will survive. But it's going to be tight for them. They've stagnated too much.
But watching West Ham last season live in person, they were our best opponents.
Yeah, they were.
They can turn it on. They can turn it on. They can play proper football. They can play attractive football. But for whatever reason, we're predicting that the potential go down. Do you think they'll go down, Charlie? You've clearly written a rule 1 to 20 league table there. Where have you got Swansea City sitting?
17th. I've got them finishing one place above the relegation zone. I think it's going to be very close for them this year.
I think they're going to go and I think it's going to go to the last 2 or 3 games, but I think they're just going to fall short, unfortunately. And I'm going to be sad to see them go. I hope they stay up. So there is Swansea City fans watching this. We don't hate you, believe it or not. We do really like you. I know we've given you a negative preview, but I've got a lot of admiration for them, and I do hope they survive. But let us know what you think down below. But let's move on to our final team in the preview. We're not doing West Ham, by the way. Next week, we've got a full-on West Ham preview with lots of opinions on it. So we're just doing the 19 opponents. Our last opponents that West Ham will come up against next season is the champions Leicester City. I think this is going to be the hardest team to preview. Do you think so?
It is. To be honest with you, I'm still not used to hearing the words "the champions Leicester City." As they're a complete unknown. I genuinely do not. I know what I'm going to say, but I have no idea whether it's going to be right or not. They've turned the entire league upside down.
Come on, Spell. What are you thinking about Leicester City?
Losing Kante is a huge deal. He didn't start really getting the plaudits he deserved until maybe 2/3 of the way through the season. That was because Jamie Vardy was obviously on an unbelievable scoring run. Riyad Mahrez was playing up to everything Riyad Mahrez has done. But honestly, I look at that and I think they have lost Kante, a guy who was so good last year that he forced his way into a France team with Pogba, with Matuidi, players of that caliber in the exact same position he plays. He was unbelievable. Losing him, I think it's a wrong move on his part to go to Chelsea. That's a separate issue. They've replaced him with Mendy, who I don't know much about. In the same way I didn't know much about Kante when we were linked with him and Leicester were linked with him last season. Can he do it? I have no idea. He seems to be the sort of guy to get it out of him.
What I will say for Leicester is they must have scouted Mendy thoroughly, because they would have predicted Kante leaving. They've probably got a replacement to an extent for Mahrez lined up. If Mahrez goes, we're going to go after this guy. They've probably done the same with Vardy. Well, they did do the same with Vardy, didn't they? They were looking at Milik. If Vardy went, we were going to go over to Holland and pick him up. So you can only assume. I would you agree with me that I assume Mendy has been thoroughly scouted, and Leicester are going to be confident that he's going to be a like for like replacement?
I do, and I think they've done another great like for like replacement. They've brought in I can't pronounce his name again, but the German goalkeeper Zieler. He's the replacement for Mark Schwarzer. That means they've got two very good goalkeepers. Ahmed Musa almost feels like the replacement for Jamie Vardy, even though Vardy obviously isn't going, but he's very similar in that style of play, pace, just finishing. It's essentially his game. I honestly do not know how to predict them.
They sold Kramaric, so they didn't really give him much time, I don't think. I thought he was someone I was looking forward to seeing in the Premier League, but they've shipped him out already. But I'm still struggling to predict them right now, to be honest, because part of me thinks, they'll be lucky to get top 10, because how are they going to cope with Champions League? How are they going to cope with pressure? But then I think, well, they're only one player down from last season, and in Leicester's opinion, they've replaced him. So should they, I'm not saying they're going to win the title again, but should they all of a sudden go from being top to bottom half of the table? I think that's an insult to Leicester, personally. I don't want to insult them, because they won that league beautifully. They won it on merit. They were the best team over the season by a country mile. They had three of the best players in the Premier League last season. And even the players that we haven't mentioned were all outstanding. You know, Christian Fuchs, Kasper Schmeichel, they were all superb. But where in your table have you got them? Let's start with that.
I've put them down as ninth. I've put them down as ninth purely because I think top six is a stretch for them, given Champions League, because they are already in the group stages. So they will have many Champions League games to come early on in the season. So I think top six is going to be difficult, because I think the six teams I've got in there are for teams who I think have a big enough squad depth to do everything they have to do. I've got them down as ninth purely because I think because they are impossible to predict. I think they could finish, in my opinion, they could finish anywhere from 7th down to 12th, and I would be like Leicester City. But then again, they could finish first, they could finish 20. Like, I honestly do not know what to say. I've put them down as ninth, though.
I think they'll finish lower than that, and you said six is a stretch. Top six is a stretch for Champions League. I think it's a stretch even if they didn't have Champions League football. And that's not an insult to Leicester. That's just the fact that I think the bigger clubs are bigger clubs with stability. Well, now they're maybe this summer they're trying to imply that stability. They're trying to apply that core and the signings they need to push on and compete with one another. But at the same time, why should I put Leicester in the bottom half of the table? Because they haven't done anything. They're the hardest team to predict. You get a gut feeling. When I've gone through this, even with West Ham, 19 teams I've had a gut feeling. I've thought, I'm quite confident they're going to be round about this area. Leicester, I've got zero idea. So you guys at home, we need your help on this. Are you thinking Leicester are going to retain their title, or are they going to get relegated? Because for some reason, there's a part of me wouldn't be surprised if they got relegated. If Jamie Vardy suddenly went back to scoring just 5 goals a season, and Mahrez got picked up, and then there's still 3 weeks of the transfer window while we're filming this. It wouldn't surprise me. Mahrez gets bought. Vardy's suddenly stopped scoring after picking up his 80, 100 grand a week deal. Mendy doesn't fit in. All of a sudden, boom, they've just lost their spine.
They relied on a very small percentage of players last year. You look at their squad isn't small, but I think, I can't remember what the stat was, but if you look at the playing time for their entire squad, once you get past like 15th position, all of a sudden it drops off massively. And that's because they didn't really have any major injuries, and the core of players they had were good enough to go through the entire thing. All it takes is a major injury to Mahrez, or Mahrez going, or a major injury to Vardy, or Vardy going. And they have backed it up. Like I said, Ahmed Musa is almost a direct replacement for Jamie Vardy. But if that does happen, then Champions League football, Premier League, any domestic cups they're in, all becomes a huge task. They seem to be up to it given last year, but I honestly don't know what to say.
But the season before, they almost got relegated. It's the same squad.
It's blowing all of our minds.
So when I'm sitting here saying, well, this squad won the title last year, how can we predict them to finish bottom half? Well, the same squad also almost got relegated the year before that. I've never seen such a change in one club in the space of such a short space of time. It wouldn't surprise me if they flipped back in the same short space of time. Would you be surprised if they got relegated? What's Leicester's chances of getting relegated in your head right now out of 100? What's the percentage? Give us a percentage.
I would say they're 50-50 to win the title. I would say they're 50-50 to get relegated. They could finish anywhere in the table, and I would be okay. Yeah, it makes zero sense. But then none of it made sense the season before that or the season. Like, I don't think like I said, I put them ninth because I think the players they've got are good enough to be there. But with the lengths of Champions League football, any injuries, people like Wes Morgan was a rock for them at the back. Robert Huth was a rock for them at the back, but they're not getting any younger. When are they going to start dropping off? When is Mahrez going to go? Is Vardy going to get injured? These are all questions, and it's like you can't answer any of them fully because all of them after last season are complete unknowns. Yeah,
it's way too difficult. But you guys watching, hopefully one of you have got a gut feeling. Let us know in the comments here on YouTube, or come on to our forum at hammerschat.com. We will be starting a thread near the start of the Premier League, asking for your predictions for the whole table. Put your neck on the line. Charlie's written his down. He's got his. I'm going to put Leicester at the top of the bottom half of the table, 12, 13. I think they're going to finish there. And you know what? I hope they don't get insulted by that, because last year was a fluke. I'll be very surprised if they qualify for European football for this coming season. I'll be very impressed. And while it won't be the same achievement as winning the title, clearly, it'll still be up there, being one of the best achievements in recent Premier League times if Leicester qualify for European football while holding Champions League football. They've got 6 games in Champions League minimum. But I think they're going to struggle this season. I think they're going to be closer to 18th than they are to 6th. I think they'll be closer to the bottom than European football. I'm going to put my neck on the line and say that. So we'll wait and see. But so that's been Charlie. I've been Geo. We've been hammerschat.com. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Do check out our other previews if you've not seen them. I spoke to Gonzo as we went through 9 of the teams, and I've spoke to Charlie as we've gone through the other 10. We'll be back next week with our West Ham one, where we'll be speaking to all our YouTubers on our channel. Predictions such as Hammer of the Year, which signing of this you think will be the best signing of the season, which youngster are you looking forward to, and where will West Ham finish? Will we finish in the European football? Will we finish top 10? Are we in danger of being relegated? Our YouTube members will be putting their neck on the line about our own club, but we've been discussing our very limited knowledge on the other 19 Premier League clubs. But let us know what you think. Thank you for your comments so far. Thank you for your subscribers. Keep watching. We've been Hammers Chat. Good night.